Order. Sarah?
Here.
Stephanie?
Here.
Travis?
Here.
John?
Here.
All right, Nathan here. All right, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item 3, consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda with the following changes. On consent agenda items B, we would be deleting the 16th because we don't have those minutes yet. And then on 5B, we would be deleting that discussion altogether for tonight.
All right, I have a motion with 2 minor changes. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Sarah?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
And Nathan, aye. All right, item 4, public input. This is the time and place for discussion items not already on the agenda, with a time limit of 3 minutes each. Would anybody like to participate in public input? Nope. All right, thank you. Item 5A, discussion and possible action regarding employee handbook.
We just put we just started and I didn't know how many pages to throw in or how much we wanted to bite off in a meeting, but that's what we put in now. It's got a few that are just start with.
I know, I saw a couple,
Some of it's just housekeeping stuff, the table.
some of it is just rewording a few things. Did we talk about workshops on that? I thought we talked about doing,
We talked about doing one section each council meeting, like just starting at the
Is that what we
beginning and going
decided?
through one section
Yeah.
each meeting. Is that how I remember it?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
did you have a section in mind for tonight, Jeff?
Well,
Just
we
was
just
starting
said
at the beginning.
start at the beginning
We're
and
starting
go.
at the beginning. Yep.
Okay.
So what we put in the packet, I guess. I didn't know how much in a single meeting, we would want to do and stuff. So if you want more the next time, I'll put more in there.
Well, we covered the org chart last time, so you have...
We did.
You have the, 3 or 4 pages.
So we did like
following
the
it.
equal employment harassment, the complaint procedure for harassment, and then some definitions.
And I think all the definitions look good. I mean,
Sarah's really dug into the handbook, so she has a
have.
lot of insight if there's problems
there's
somewhere.
nothing really in this section that I'm seeing that needs to change. It was
any-
more of some other policies and such that further down. So it's probably in the next section. I didn't bring my handbook tonight that but yeah, I think these are all good. The harassment, obviously, those are,
Did any of Travis or Christina or even Amy, did you guys happen to look at that at all and see anything that,
I didn't glance at it at all once.
I found 2 grammatical errors, which I can fix.
okay. But otherwise, nothing?
I don't see any either.
I didn't notice, I noticed the harassment didn't seem to have anything regarding like online or social media.
I think that should be its own
Its own separate
section.
section.
Yeah.
I do think that somewhere we have a social media
I think you have a policy.
policy
policy
now.
Yeah.
Whether
We
it
did that a
covers
couple-
harassment, I don't know, but it does cover your conduct on social media, I know.
We did that a few years ago.
So maybe that would be the place to put that.
I mean, or you could
Yeah.
add another bullet point about online or something like that.
I think
to the
social
lit
media should have its own
chapter.
chapter or section, yeah.
So we should just
And we should just adopt that and
leave
put
it
it in
here
that,
as is.
yeah. Whatever it is, we should probably put it in the handbook.
Sure.
No, that was the only thing that really stuck out for me was making sure that we would cover that base. Any other changes you can think of, John, Travis?
If you could send me the social media, I've never seen the
You wanna
social media
do that one next time?
policy.
Yeah.
So if you could email me that'd be great.
And would that be a good thing to cover at the next meeting?
I think it would be, yeah.
Okay.
As well as again, 2 or 3 pages?
Yep, I think so.
So combine it with some more pages next
Yep.
time? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else on this, we'll move on.
Yep.
5C, discussion regarding new 28E agreement for Mount Vernon-Lisbon Police Department.
It's similar to what we had before. The major change in it is in the section of the budget. We want to take care of what the concerns that were voiced in that meeting in regards to any spikes like what would be in Lisbon. So anything above a 5% increase in Lisbon's annual would be required city council approval too. So we put that in there as well. So hopefully that would take care of that issue that we discussed the last time.
I'm happy to.
Mark, do you?
Yeah, let me just kind of weigh in a little bit. You should have 2 copies. The first copy, the red line, is a smaller font.
I think they've just got the finish.
I'm only seeing the one with the blue addition.
Yeah, I don't have the
There's
draft.
a little bit of
I
red
forgot
lining
the
in
red
blue.
line went in. My bad.
Yeah, what I, just so everybody knows, Mount Vernon City Attorney drafted the original draft of the 28E and sent it to me. Actually, sent it to Jeff, and Jeff forwarded it on to me. And so I redlined it with proposed revisions. I sent it to Jeff, and then I sent it on back to Mount Vernon's attorney and said, look, council hasn't reviewed it, these are just the attorney proposed revisions. And really the significant majority of those, I believe, were accepted by the attorney. Again, it's all subject to approval by both councils. They had a couple additional revisions, and what I thought I'd do, since you don't have the red line version, you have the other version, let's just walk through that, and I'll point out the additional changes that Mount Vernon is proposing.
Okay.
So if you go to the second page under section 3, which is entitled effective date, operative date. When this was originally drafted, we were thinking 60 days for the effective date. Now it's been revised to 30. I think that's just the reason is because this is Mark's timeline, not anybody else's. My thought was January 1 start, if the 2 cities agreed to combine the police departments. So before it was 60 days, now it's almost November 1st.
So
by the time
we're losing that 60 days.
we're almost getting to be 30 days, because by the time it gets through councils for approval, all that, you're going to get 30 days for the effective date. So that was actually a change by Mount Vernon, and then Mount Vernon's attorney. And then if you go to the 4th page, which is section 7, called fiscal year, under subpart B, the changes there were changes added by Mount Vernon after I had redlined it. None of those changes caused me any heartburn.
And just so that, I'm sure everybody saw it, but up in the top part, it does say that the parties agreed, the increases, it can't exceed 5% of the current or prior fiscal year's contribution without approval of the council. Because if you remember, that was kind of just blank.
Yeah, we're not
And so-
going to sign up with check, so
Right.
that's a concern.
So that, we don't see that because it's a change that Mark made.
Right.
But I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that that was there.
Yeah.
And also, let me just go back to the red line. If you look at the draft you have, the second sentence, I added Lisbon shall make quarterly payments to the department. Again, I didn't know what you wanted to do, but I'm guessing you don't want to write a check the first part of the year for $340,000. At a minimum, you'd like to. I think the thought was, and I don't know if this was, if Jeff and I had this conversation, the tax payments that are made, I think, on a quarterly basis. So that, from a cash flow perspective, that seemed reasonable to me.
Quarterly's fine. They come in big chunks twice a year.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the middle, and I'll just read it. The parties agree any increases in the annual contribution to be paid by Lisbon shall not exceed 5% of the current or prior fiscal year's contribution without approval of the Lisbon City Council. That way you've got control. Okay? And, okay, we talked about 7B. And then if you go to the bottom, where we just-
I don't think we actually did talk about 7B. I think I started talking about the
Oh,
top part.
I'm sorry, okay.
I think you hit the first sentence, but yeah, let's continue there.
Yeah, 7B, fiscal restrictions, unless Mount Vernon declares an emergency pursuant to Chapter 15 of its Code of Ordinances, and then you can read the rest. Mount Vernon and Lisbon shall have no power to impose any tax of any nature, nor pledge the credit of Mount Vernon, nor incur any debt or other financial obligation, the payment of which has not been provided for in the current or approved future budget. And then they add the last sentence, which is, in the event Mount Vernon's mayor declares an emergency pursuant to Chapter 15 of Mount Vernon Code of Ordinances, Mount Vernon will take necessary fiscal action. Again, this doesn't really impact Lisbon because you're bound to your annual payment and not more than a 5% increase. So I think this is to help Mount Vernon in case they have an emergency. They can increase their portion. That's how I read it. Doug, is that your understanding too?
That's, yeah, similar to mine. I think some of this came from the merger with the fire district one.
Yeah, I think that's right.
From that
Yep.
standpoint. And you would have to do yours independently of theirs. If there was a disaster or something here, we would expect Lisbon, we may come to Lisbon Council and say, hey, Lisbon got impacted by a tornado. We have these increased expenses. We would like to bring those to Lisbon because it's not covered by Mount Vernon.
Right.
And vice versa with Mount Vernon.
Okay.
Is that-
Makes sense.
that makes sense,
Yeah.
everybody? Okay.
I have a question. I'm just asking, and probably I already know the answer, but I just want to ask. So like, for example, when derecho came and there were certain things that we could be reimbursed for as a city because of it, but some of them had limits. So if, for example, that happened again, and Mount Vernon applied for whatever, but there was a limit to what they could get, would Lisbon then also be able to apply as like a co-city in that for our limit? Or do you think that because it's all run under Mount Vernon, we wouldn't have any jurisdiction? Or does anybody even know?
Such as emergency relief for increased
Like for FEMA
police.
funding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
FEMA funding would come back to the city organization where the impact occurs. So if it was here, like I said, sometimes we'll get a tornado that come through one community but not the other. If that rose to a FEMA level, that city would be responsible for the application for the whatever cost it was for that city to mitigate from some of that. And I believe it would be, we could, similar to the, what is there, 25%, Jeff, on the last FEMA for public safety or something like that?
The CARES Act.
CARES Act,
Thinking of the
portion
CARES
of that.
Act.
Was it 25 or 50?
Well, they raised it to 50.
Yeah, so that is my question, actually.
Yeah.
So you would be able to, Mount Vernon would be able to apply for 50% of theirs, then would we also be able to apply it? Because it kind of feels like double dipping a little bit, you know what I mean?
It
But,
sounds
So
like
it'd be the
we can.
total cost of the police services, so it'd
But
be both of us by extension.
We'd be able to get 50% of our cost, they'd be able to get 50% of their cost.
Because it'd be the
But
total cost.
it's really a question to FEMA, not necessarily.
We'd apply as probably
It would be
as
something
one
that-
agency.
It would either have to come, like, this portion was Lisbon's, this portion was Mount Vernon's collect, here's our total cost, this is what we did in Lisbon, this is what we did in Mount Vernon, and bring that to collectively into an application. My assumption is it would probably individually go through each community in their application.
But to your
and we
to your
may
point-
never need it, but I'm just wondering, like,
Well, and to
But he
this-
would basically tell us what amount would be ours, and that's what we
Yeah.
would use for them.
and to his point, if
Yeah.
We had three
Right, but-
officers in Lisbon for X many hours, X many miles, X many hours on our vehicles and equipment used, we would calculate all that out.
and I get that, but what I'm saying is because everything is funneled through Mount Vernon, would Lisbon really have a claim? Because I get that we pay them $340,000.
we'd have to provide evidence to FEMA when we make the application.
That we do have
those
something.
are
Yeah.
Lisbon-specific costs. And
Yeah.
to his
I
point
would
about
refer back
if the
to-
tornado hits Lisbon only,
Right. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, you're still
Right.
They would have-
responsible, you're still a financial stakeholder in the police department function from that. So my belief is that it would still, we'd still funnel that expense through. Now, if it gets over the 340 of the, but I don't see, I still think that percentage would come through the community. I mean, in the FEMA stuff that I've done before, it's all geographically, what are we dealing with in our jurisdiction based.
Okay. And like I said, maybe it's just something I was thinking about
Oh, it's a good
in the
thought.
moment,
It's-
and
it
I'm
could
just
get
wondering
messy.
if that would be double dipping.
I don't think
But I
it's
don't
double
know.
dipping, but I think it could get messy if a tornado hit only Lisbon. They increased their patrols over here because of that.
Right.
We turn in FEMA for reimbursement of that. We would have.
Because we're not really
the burden of
paying any
showing-
extra unless we actually give them more money.
that's where
We
we-
really don't have the expense because we're still paying you the same
That's
340,
what kind of, but that goes
That's
back
where
to
it gets a
the
little
original
gray.
conversation we just had.
Where you could come to
know,
us.
Where we could come back to Lisbon and say, hey, this is what we had, you're going for FEMA funds, we would like to roll that over.
Yeah.
That's what that portion is.
We'd have to address that at the time and what FEMA rules are at the time.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that's going to be.
And it probably depends on what kind of disaster it is, and, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that come into play with it, but I just want to try to understand how that would work.
I think our speculation's good, but FEMA's the experts to ask on that one. All righty. And that was on 7B, correct? So,
Right.
do you want to continue, Mark?
Sure. Section 8 at the bottom, term of agreement, beginning the effective date, let's just assume it's January 1 for discussion purposes. It's 5 years from the effective date, unless it gets terminated pursuant to the agreement. Let me back up. Mount Vernon's attorney initially had it. Let's keep going here. With the exception that it may be terminated by majority vote of the advisory board or by a majority vote of the Mount Vernon or Lisbon City Council after a period of 1 year by any representative of one party giving to any representative of the other party. Written notice thereof and termination of this agreement shall be completed. They initially had within 2 years. I changed it to 12 months, and I think the compromise was 18 months. So here, let me tell you why I moved it to 12 months. Because once somebody decides to terminate it, if it's 2 years, you're still going to be paying for 2 years. That's the bad news. The good news, you still have service for 2 years. If you do it for 12 months, I guess the question's going to be, and I think this was the Mount Vernon's attorney's point, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. If for some reason the two communities decide to unwind this department and go their separate ways, it may take a little time to revamp, get your equipment, start up your police department. And maybe 12 months is a little short. So I think 18 months was sort of the middle ground. And I don't,
He's exactly right.
how long would it take to start up a police department from scratch?
Well, I think in a year's time from now, we're still going to be blending this one in. We'll physically have it together quickly, but I think working the bugs out is going to take over a year to get everything spun up. And so as I indicated to council and to you guys before, I was very adamant that it needs to be a serious commitment, long-term commitment from that standpoint. The 18-month also allows, if there is a termination, we know we're going to at least have, both councils will at least have a full budget cycle, budget discussion in that time frame to be able to adopt from that. If it was only at 12 months, there is scenarios out there where you could terminate and budgets are already set before we go into that. So that was the ideology behind
Makes
that.
sense.
Okay.
And then if you move to section 9, which is real property and equipment, under the original agreement, it said, just as it says now, each city shall retain ownership of any and all real property, which is real estate, currently utilized, provide, administer law enforcement and police protection services for and within the cities of Mount Vernon and Lisbon. The original draft had a Part A, which is now, the one you see here is actually the old Part B. But the Part A said, upon the operative date, all equipment currently owned by Lisbon or Mount Vernon Police Department shall become the property of Mount Vernon for use by the department. I deleted that and said the city of Lisbon should take their equipment, their police equipment, and sell it. Take the money and put it back in the general funds. Because if you essentially give it to the department and the department were to split in 5 years and you get that equipment back, it's probably not going to be worth anything. And the budget number, I would think, would include all equipment to perform the services. So the attorney for Mount Vernon agreed with that, so we struck that. So any police equipment that we currently have, the city, under this agreement, assuming it would be approved by both cities, Lisbon could take whatever equipment they have, whatever police equipment they have, and sell it. Okay?
I would
And
ask,
then does that change?
That you get to buy it
so,
first.
I would ask that a lot of that equipment, because bringing in 2 new people, we need a squad car that goes with that. You already have a squad car, you already have it set up with equipment, you already have it set up with the same computers that we use, the same cameras that we use, and all of that stuff. So we had talked originally too about figuring out, here's the value of that, crediting it towards your contribution, and then transitioning that over at some level. Don't just go out and sell it, please.
No,
We'll
I
have a discussion, let's figure
completely
out what we
understand.
need.
Doug wants a right of first refusal.
Right.
We'll figure out what we need from that standpoint, and then figure out how to department the rest.
Well, and not only that, but keep in mind that the ambulance is potentially looking for something, they're in need of some type of a something.
Secondary, yeah.
Yeah, and our park and rec is in need of some kind of something. So we may be able to repurpose some of those before we try to sell it all. At least vehicles.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right.
The next one I'll just point out is under number 11, prosecution services. So Mount Vernon writes a speeding ticket in Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon police or city attorney prosecutes it. Now, the new, I should have said the new police department writes the city speeding ticket to Mount Vernon city attorney prosecutes it. The new police department cites somebody in Lisbon for speeding, then Lisbon city attorney prosecutes it. Make sense?
And then, question, so the revenue from that ticket goes where?
So,
Okay.
Which city?
Which, just so you all know, I'm sure Doug will tell me, but it ain't gonna be much. I'm telling you right now,
Yeah.
as soon as somebody pleads not guilty to a speeding ticket, the city loses money.
You've lost money.
Because you gotta pay your officers to come and testify, you gotta pay the city attorney to prosecute. Fair?
And you get 80% of the fine amount.
Right.
So if the fine is $40, $40 plus court costs plus everything else, you get 80% of the $40.
Yeah, you don't get
Minus the hundreds of dollars
And
of
the
everything
officer
else.
fees and everything that goes along with it, yeah.
Okay, paragraph 12, dissolution of agreement.
That kind of goes with the other.
Matches the other 18
It matches
months.
what the other is, yeah,
Well,
the
now
18
it's
years.
switched to 18 months,
Yeah.
same as we talked about.
18 months.
Yep.
Hey Doug, just kind of while we're scrolling through and we're on the same kind of thing. So let's say that you have, and I don't know, maybe I don't even know what I'm talking about. Let's say that you have a big drug bust and you find a bunch of cash in that drug bust. And at some point, does that get forfeit to the police department?
Very difficult to do that anymore. It's kind of a dying thing
Okay,
from that standpoint. But yes, you could forfeit that to the department. They don't go to general funds, they go into a forfeiture account to be used for
the police department only.
activities that further the drug investigation or drug type of activity.
Okay.
If it's drug related, yeah.
And then the only other thing I would point out is under paragraph 17, if the parties decide they want to change something in the agreement, it's got to be in writing and approved by both city councils. That seems pretty self-evident. And then finally, under paragraph 19, this agreement, if approved by both councils, would supersede the current 28-degree agreement we have for what we call shared services. Yeah, so that agreement obviously would go away, which I think is, we reference it as the 2016 2080, or any addendas or amendments to that.
Okay.
With that, I can try to answer any additional questions that you might have. At least as to the 2080.
Anybody have any questions?
I don't have any.
Thanks for coming. I think that was helpful.
You do, Travis, or you don't?
No, I don't.
And so the next step in this process would then be to have a public hearing,
Right. Yep.
but you are of the mindset that we can't do that tonight because it's not on the agenda.
On the agenda, so.
When does this go to Mount Vernon Council?
Probably once it's approved through you.
Okay.
We can,
I didn't know if,
final agreement on the, I can put it in front of them again. I don't think they would want to act on it until we know that it's approved and finalized.
Okay.
From there, but I can put it out.
no, I was just curious as to if,
And he's exactly right with that 30-day shrinkage, was exactly trying to continue to stay on track with what we had talked about with the
Right.
January 1, trying to not delay the process any further if that's the direction both councils choose, trying to facilitate that process.
We would like to have a public hearing and let the public come in, and we were talking about maybe even doing that like November 4th or something like that, but the problem is we don't have another meeting between now and then to set the public hearing.
School board meeting.
on the
That's
second.
This next one.
Honestly, if, going back to that 30-day window, that's, if everybody's comfortable with that, we really have till December 1st.
So maybe the thing to do would be,
Have it on the night.
you could have your joint meeting with the school on the second.
Second.
Why don't you put that on the agenda to also set a public hearing on the 9th?
I'm not here on the 9th.
That's right.
It doesn't matter to me, but I'm just telling you
Okay.
because it did matter to you.
All right. Well, when's the next meeting then? Is
The next meeting would be the 23rd.
okay, or you could have a special meeting.
On the 16th?
16th. You guys decide what.
I'm fine with that.
I think, my opinion, just Mark's opinion, I think it would be a good idea to have full council at that.
Oh, absolutely.
To hear the public input from the community.
I agree.
100% agree.
Yeah.
The night, yeah, I say we set
So
it
let's
on
put it
November.
the agenda for the
Put it,
9th.
yep, we'll
and-
set it to set the public hearing for the 16th on the 2nd. So make note of that, Jeff. And we can do that right off the BAM before we
You
start.
could set the public hearing on the
On
9th,
the 9th, we
technically.
could set the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, we
You're not
could.
going to have it till the
Yeah.
16th.
Or go ahead and do it on the second.
Second, that way.
And if for some reason it doesn't get on, you've got one more day.
I would say too that one of the things with that is maybe we could put something in the Sun, like a little blurb in the Sun that we're having a public hearing on the, I want to try to get the word out, we'll put it on the website, put it on the Facebook page, put it in the Sun. Want to try to get the word out so we get as many people here.
It's an important decision for the community, and you want.
It is.
as many people
Absolutely.
to come in and make comment one way, for or against.
And then if we had it on the 16th after that, then we could make a decision on the 23rd.
Correct.
Is there already a motion to make a public hearing about this, or did we just talk about it?
No, we haven't.
Perhaps, I was,
No, we had talked about it, but we wanted to see it before we set that public hearing.
Yeah.
We hadn't seen the
We haven't
revised
seen the
contract.
revised contract
It was
yet.
on the last agenda.
Last agenda, and we
But we
didn't do it,
didn't, and then
okay.
So if you go that far out, Mount Vernon would not see it until December 7th for approval on their end.
I don't know, we have a choice though.
We do the second and, or the first and third Mondays.
You're the first and third.
I'm still thinking of having a special meeting on the 4th to take care of the administrative position, lock that
yes. Yes.
in, but you could combine the two.
Have the public hearing on the 4th.
Set the public hearing on the 2nd for the
Do
4th.
we have enough time?
That seems like short notice to me, but
Seems like really short notice to me as well.
Usually do 10 days or something like that.
Honestly, what I think is, I think 3 of us should just come here tomorrow night, maybe, and set a public hearing. And have that public hearing set for the 4th or something.
we don't have an agenda posted for the moment.
Well, then Wednesday night. Unless you went out and posted it for an 8 o'clock meeting, but
That's fine with me.
Well, and to get it in front of Mount Vernon, though,
They need it-
Their third week of November meeting is the 16th.
The 16th.
Right. So that's why I'm saying if we could
So we'd have to have it.
If we could post it,
Yeah, and we'd have to approve this, if we choose to approve this, on the 9th. So we have to have the public hearing before.
But you're not here on the 9th.
I could zoom in for something like that, I guess. I cannot cancel this trip. I cannot.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, and I can't speak for Mount Vernon, but if Mount Vernon's essentially in agreement with the draft that we're talking about tonight, I don't see why it would be heartburn for them to pass it on
On the 16th.
On December 7th.
On December 7th.
December 7th. What
Yes.
difference does it make?
It's not 30 days.
It says within 30 days, doesn't it?
Well, it's a delay of 30 days start, so, I mean, it would move you beyond the January 1 timeline.
Yeah, but only
Doug,
about a
do
few
you-
days.
Right.
Do you have any idea if Mount Vernon wants to have a public hearing?
They haven't said anything about it. So, I can,
Could always start just a few days earlier, not wait for the full 30, if both
Right.
cities agree.
right. 30, well, the only portion of that, and Mark may be able to speak more on it, my concern would be the legal ability of the officers to take enforcement under the agreement until, you know.
Yeah, but we still have the existing 2080 agreement, though.
Which doesn't end until this one takes effect.
That one allows Mount Vernon officers to take action in Lisbon. It wouldn't allow the Lisbon officers to take
action in Mount Vernon.
When is the
Understood.
last, so it's the first and
First and third Mondays.
third, so the third meeting for
Second and 16th would
would
be
be the
Mount Vernon.
16th.
Honestly, this just may require a few special meetings, and I think with as big of a project it is, I think that that's totally acceptable.
Or what you could do is have a special, you could come in Wednesday, brief-
28th.
set a public hearing for the 11th.
It's Veterans Day.
Pardon me?
That is Veterans Day.
Just to set the public hearing.
City Hall's closed.
No, you don't even need to be here.
I have a meeting in here Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
So have it at 6.
We have it at 6:45.
I'm just throwing out an idea. Have the public hearing on the 11th, and you can make your decision on the 11th, and that gives Mount Vernon notice of what the city's decision is, and they can pick it up on the 16th.
Yep,
Yeah.
sounds good.
But you're saying the 11th is Veterans Day?
Our offices are closed that day, just so you
That
know.
doesn't mean you have a city council meeting.
Well, but it's a public hearing. I feel, whatever you
You guys
guys
can do
know.
whatever you want. I mean,
Or how about the 12th then?
Was that a Wednesday?
Which is a Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday?
I can make anything.
Or even Tuesday? The 10th?
Yeah, we could do Tuesday, the 10th, as far as I'm
So what if we
concerned.
have back-to-back meetings? I'll be home on the 10th.
All right.
That would get it to
Or would you
them in
guys
front of them
just-
on the 16th then.
We could just move our whole meeting from the 9th to the 10th.
I'm game
Travis?
either way.
I'm
I have no
okay.
problem.
I'm okay either way.
I am too, so you guys just pick because I'm the problem.
Let's just move the entire meeting to the 10th, so that way we're not meeting 15 times in 1 week. So let's do that.
Can we do
I'll make that decision.
Spend taxpayer money.
The 10th is going to be to set a public hearing, or you're setting the public hearing?
No, we're gonna come in, there's gonna be 3 of us that are gonna agree to come Wednesday to set the public hearing for the 10th.
So can you be here Wednesday at 6:30? Or would you rather not because you have to work?
I do have to cook that night, but I can, my husband
I
can
can
cook for
come.
me.
I know John can
I can
probably
come.
come.
It's not a problem.
Nate can come?
Can we do 6?
Yeah, I can come
can.
anytime.
Let's do 6 if that works for you guys.
Probably not you.
That's all right.
Do you want to be here, Travis, or we're just setting
You're
the,
just setting a public hearing. I don't need to be here for that.
Exactly.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You guys are doing it on Wednesday this week?
Yes.
6.
Christina, could you please get an agenda posted tomorrow for a special meeting on Wednesday at 6 PM?
And then we're moving the meeting our normally scheduled meeting from the 9th to the 10th,
Can we do that?
right?
Are we okay to do that?
Is that the one that Maggie's coming to though? Or is she coming to the next one?
I have to go look.
Okay.
Well, again, I really do believe that you could probably just have your meeting on the 9th and put whatever bills and all that kind of stuff, so that when we
That's fine.
get in here on the 10th, we could focus on the public hearing, and it would be
That's fine.
all about
It might be a
that.
long meeting, so
And it could
we
be
can
a
do that.
long meeting, and it would be the only thing on the agenda, and we could really put all of our efforts onto that subject.
Okay, let's do
Is that
that.
okay with everybody?
I'm fine with that.
So you'll have your regular meeting on the 9th?
We need you available on the 10th,
Not
yes.
the 9th, obviously, you don't need to be here.
Yes.
Okay.
And Doug, if you want to come on the 10th, that would be great too.
So Wednesday night, we're coming here at 6 o'clock to do a public hearing, to set a public hearing for the 10th
Yes.
of November to discuss the 28E agreement with the police department.
Yes.
And if we're all comfortable, like I said, that language is looking pretty comfortable, like that's where we're going to land, I can put that in front of our council at the end just to make sure this is where we're at. And if they want public hearing, we can kind of get that process going.
I don't have any problem with the language. Anybody? Mark, you obviously don't.
So as modified,
I do have one question that I've been asked a lot, and maybe you don't know the answer to it. If for some reason the city of Lisbon decided not to go forward with this agreement, would Mount Vernon still do the regular 28E agreement that we have now, the shared service agreement? Would that be something that you guys would want to continue, or is this an all or nothing?
I would have to ask council on that as well, but I don't think that's been discussed.
Okay. Is that it?
Okay, I think we've got it. I think you just summarized what we're up to.
Okay.
Is a 10/28, 6 PM meeting. And a special meeting on 11/10 for the public hearing is what will be established.
And you'll need to come, because I
on
think
Wednesday.
Doug might still be gone then, so you'll try to do both of you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion regarding 5C?
No.
No.
Okay. Moving on then. 6, public hearings, ordinances, resolutions. A, Resolution 52-2020, approving goal-setting document of October 5th, 2020 goal-setting meeting. This was the meeting we had with Pat Callahan, where we spelled out the future goals of this council. And this is, I guess, and we received that summary in our packet, or that report in our packet. Any questions on it or comments?
Nope.
All right.
He sent the final report. Christina, did you get a copy of the bill? Okay. I just wanted to make sure you got it. He sent a copy of the final report and the bill.
I think the bill was on here, so,
I didn't look at it.
yeah, the $1,300 fee is.
Oh, the $1,300 fee, yeah.
I move to approve the resolution.
All right, we have a motion. Do I have a second? I'll second. Roll call. Sarah?
Hi.
Stephanie?
Hi.
John?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Nathan, aye. All right. 6B, Resolution 53-2020, setting salaries for police officers.
When we renegotiated the union contract, one of the things that we put in there was to get our 2 officers, to try to get them on par with where they should be, and the dollar amount was the $25.57. You guys got a thing from Christina tonight that tells what they currently make. And then you have the copy of the resolution. Basically, it's a 98-cent increase. We took the difference between the cap amount and what they're making now and divided it by 3, because it's over a 3-year period that we would be getting them to scale. And so that's where this 22.629 comes from.
Okay.
So I'm going to make a motion to approve this new rate, but it also needs to be, and it's in here, it's going to be retro back to July 1st, because it should have been done with it at that time. And it says that right above.
Yep, Section 2.
So I'm making a motion to approve the resolution with the 98-cent increase and retro it back to July 1st.
All right, we have a motion from Stephanie. I have a second from John. All right, John?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Nathan, aye. Okay. Moving on, correspondence. Do you have anything?
Well, you might have seen in your emails today, the Beekses are unhappy that they're being forced to do a site plan. And so just read your email. I would just say read your email.
Who is?
Beach.
They might not be, everybody might not be up to par
If
on
you've
that.
been watching the grading going on in the lot next to the golf course along Highway 30.
Discount storage?
We were there, with more looked into it, they had to do a site plan review, as it turns out, for those containers. They are in our district, supplemental district regulations, they are allowed, but they require several steps. And one of them is the building permit, and that triggers the site plan. And that's where they're at. So I got them to Lynn County, and I think once they started on that, they unhappy is my take on it. So they sent an email to all of you today.
Yeah,
and
I got
me
it.
Both about it. So just
read
look
it.
for it. And
They need to do the site.
Yeah, they gotta
Yeah, they
follow
need to do it.
they
And
got
I,
proper
so
code and channel.
I think we should give Jeff direction on, do we want him, because I didn't respond to him, and I'm sure you guys didn't either individually as council members. So I don't know if we should have Jeff respond back to them and just say, if you bring it to full council, we can put you on an agenda, we can put you on a council agenda, or,
if he, and they've been coming in here and talking to me several times a week. So I guess I'll hear from them again. I'll just refer it up the next time I talk to them, because they don't really have anything to ask for a variance for yet, because you actually have to go through and get
You have
like
to go through the
rejected.
whole thing and get rejected before
Right.
a variance is.
Right. I mean, they don't have, they've just told me loosely what they want to do. They've never presented me like
yeah, but they changed their mind too.
well, they do, but they've never given me like even a cocktail napkin drawing, I'll call it, of what it's going to look like when they're done. But
Well, any other business that comes in there has to do it, so.
Yeah.
Well,
they
that's
should
just
see-
it.
One minute,
It's
he'll
part
be
of-
like, I'm just trying to get the lot ready so I can sell it and make it appealing to a new buyer. And then the next minute, he'll be like, well, if I'm just gonna put temporary pods on it or temporary railroad cars, what's the big deal? It's like, you never really know what he's doing.
So they have to follow the same rules
Yeah,
everybody.
well, that's why I sent him
Yes.
I sent him the ordinances, the relative ordinances per certified mail.
Yeah.
And told him you need to do this, and then he came down looking for a permit. I said the permits are done online through Lynn County, that's how the process starts. I gave him the number, said call, they will walk through this with you, and that's about 3 hours later is when the email came.
And he must have realized how expensive it was gonna be to get that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got engineering requirements. I mean, we have issues about drainage on there. We have issues about traffic control coming out onto Old 30. We have.
And they've created a new,
Yeah, they were
they've
supposed to
created a new entrance off of 30.
Right.
Right.
Well, they've graded it.
Yeah.
So, right.
Just so that you guys know, there's some residents, I know Jeff gets called, I don't know, do you get called every day by one of them?
Not every day, but enough.
And I get called or emailed by two of them at least almost every day. So there are some neighbors that are not happy with what's happening and are really keeping an eye on it. We also reached out to Dave, the engineer, and he said that he had a conversation with him like 10 years ago
yeah.
about the same thing, and told him back then that it's got to be, how
It
he's got to
wasn't
do
storage
it.
units, but there's been a drainage issue on the slot, and somebody told
Yeah.
me there was a hog thing
Hog
on this
confinement.
property.
Those are hog, I believe they're old hog sheds,
We're
is
there.
what they are.
Oh.
They're made out of
Did not know that.
old hog.
So there were some concerns about that kind of thing there, or, drainage and ponds and.
I had a local business owner, not resident of Lisbon, call me on the subject too. So.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people who are,
Yep.
The fact is, he's got to follow the directions
Yep.
like
Well,
everybody
that's
else.
just
What I've been doing.
You've got to
So just to
follow.
let you know, that's there.
and he'll just have to come to council if he
Yeah,
wants to
if
complain
he
to
doesn't like our
a-
regulations, that'll be, they come to address the city council,
Yep,
please.
yep.
All right. And then, do you have anything else? Was that it?
No, that's it.
All right. Mayor O'Connor did receive a letter from ISU Extension recognizing that Christina had taken some training recently. You participated at the Iowa Municipal Professionals Academy. What kind of training was it?
Those were classes I took back in July for the finance officer's part.
Clerk position, finance officer. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Reports, number 8, city engineers report.
Just, we're working with the DNR
not DNR, but the
DOT.
thank you. That's going to be coming almost any minute. It's really, really close is what he's saying. Other than that, we're working on some other stuff. What we have is, we have a new house going up in between 4th and 3rd on North Washington.
Oh, is that what's going on over there?
Yeah. The problem is we stopped our sewer rehab at 3rd. And with the footage that we've seen now, we're going to have to line that, or he's looking for other alternatives for us so they can make their connection, because I'm not comfortable with them trying to make a new tap into that main without creating more problems.
Minutes?
Yeah. So we're kind of dragging our feet on that right now. The cost to line that's right at $26,000 if we go from manhole to manhole. And like I said, I'm hoping we can find a cheaper alternative, but
We're trying to maybe have them connect to somewhere else and cover the difference. It would be cheaper than trying to fix that main.
Connect in just a half a block south or something?
Something
right,
like that.
It's not ideal, but like I said, I'm waiting to hear back from Dave on that. What do we have? Still working with the telemetry and our radios, communications for the wells and the water tower. So hopefully next council meeting I can tell you we've got it up and running, but right now it's still requiring someone to babysit that through the night.
You're getting away from radio though and moving to shot
fiber.
underground wire.
Yep. So
And what's the issue on that? Is it the software was aged or what?
no, there's so much radio frequency that we'd get intermittent transmits and it would just lock up.
And so Mechanicsville hasn't gotten out there yet? Is that the deal?
No, Mechanicsville's getting their wires set.
Okay.
I'm waiting for our communications, ESCO, who takes care of all of our panel views and everything, to get the boxes they need to make the connections to fiber, to
Okay.
make it a secure site so you can't get on there and
Right.
make changes on it.
Yep.
But a city official could, so.
So we're waiting on that.
Yeah, that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
And last but not least, good news for you guys. I don't know if you heard, the chipper motor did blow up on us for our brush chipper.
Yeah, you told us that last meeting, I
Okay.
And it
think.
was going to be super expensive to
that's not-
Well, I
replace,
thought you
like
said it
more
was
than
good
what we
news.
bought.
Yeah, you said good news. What do you, come
No,
on.
I said, oh, it's not, I was being sarcastic.
We love sarcasm.
So through Vermeer, their motor, a new replacement motor, they wanted $28,000. I took it over to Monk's. We pulled the motor apart to see exactly what was wrong. We found a new replacement motor, but it's $17,000. We paid $17,000 for the machine when we bought it. We can't replace that machine for $60,000. So I kind of want you guys to chew on this and figure out what next step. Finding a used chipper right now is like finding a needle in a haystack.
Especially in this area.
I've called all the way out to Vermont, and they've got trucks coming this way with chippers, but they're all earmarked for sold already. So
how many years did we use that?
we got it in 16, so we technically used it 17 through now, so 3 years.
3 years?
Yep.
Huge.
But this year
However,
had
this
so
year
much.
probably
Well,
was
yeah.
3 years worth of work.
Right.
So
Poor thing.
on an average brush pickup for us, we'll dump our truck 6 to 8 times.
Right.
For 2 weeks, we were dumping in front of every household. So
Understood.
that's, I mean, it got abused, and the motor's a great motor in those. They're not generally prone to stuff like this. That's why when we did purchase it, we were, when we did our background checks on it, those motors normally can run 20,000 hours. What happened was the counterbalance came apart on the inside, which is a very rare thing, and then caught the main rod, and then that's what.
What
You're
kind
asking
of,
us to prepare to either stop doing it or buy a new motor, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
pretty much. And I'd like you to think about it because I want it on the next agenda.
What is the warranty on that $17,000 motor?
1 year. It's like 3 months for, it breaks down for everything. Oil leaks
Well,
have
it's-
like 3 months on
It's
it.
just probably a reconditioning.
And-
Yeah, it's a rebuild.
motor, so
Oh, okay.
it's not like it's brand new.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay.
And how much would it cost us to send you to school to learn how to fix those?
It's not, I could fix it. It's the cost to the parts. That's the problem.
I know.
Just the cage for the counterbalance is $4,000.
Oh my God.
And then
All
you
right.
gotta put the oil pump and all that other stuff together. So by the time we piecemeal it together, we're gonna have close to the 17 into it and no warranty.
No
behind it.
warranty because,
Yep,
So,
understood.
all right,
Travis,
so I'm just gonna say, let's just make sure we get it on the next agenda then to discuss and take action.
you're down a man.
yep,
How's that working out for you?
Well, today was their first day without him, right?
nope. Wednesday was his last day.
Oh, it was Wednesday.
Yep.
How's that going? Any applications?
Yeah, we got some applications. I can talk to personnel after the meeting.
Okay, good.
Was that also 8B, Public Works Director's report, or do you have something separate?
No, you're together.
Question, did you want, have you heard back from the DOT about that we can sit down and chat about?
No, that's.
Okay, that's
so,
something
yeah,
different.
like, as soon as Dave gets to us and we kind of
Okay.
accept it, then we know the county got theirs.
Okay.
And we should be able to meet up.
Okay, all right,
So
well, just, you let me know.
The snowball effect. It's
Nope,
gonna get
that's
big
fine.
really fast.
Nope,
So
that's
that
fine.
brings up another question. Did we prepare for this when we bought salt, sand, all that stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty, since we already covered 8B, Public Works Director's report, next is 8C, Parks and Rec Director report.
I went to the school board meeting tonight, and they approved to allow us to use their facilities, and that will take place starting November 1st. There's a lot of different guidelines that we have to follow, and pretty much what they said is we're gonna get one shot, you get a warning, and if people aren't following after that, they're gonna give you the boot. So I'm gonna do my best to pass the word on to coaches. I wrote my own guidelines, the school has their own guidelines. Coaches will get them, parents will get them, and then I'm gonna have to enforce those rules at games when parents attend. Face masks will be required the whole time.
Are you able to police all of it if you?
That's my only option right now. If people see it and turn it in, then it comes back on us, and that's where we would no longer be able to use their facilities.
Okay.
So I know Matt Siders at Mount Vernon has hired somebody to police it. If that's what you guys want me to do, I don't know who.
I just don't know if you're planning on using like the Lions Den and
No,
the
just the LECC.
LEC, okay.
So I'm gonna have to police it myself when I'm there on Saturdays, and I'm gonna be reffing at the same time.
I was gonna say, don't you ref too?
That's just kidding.
So I'm hoping that everybody just follows the rules, but
Well, how many Saturdays do you have?
fine.
What time does it start?
Wait a second, which Saturdays, when do they start?
It'll be the 14th, will be the first day. We don't have any games that day.
I'll be more than happy to volunteer and sit there and police them.
I'm just hoping we don't have an issue with it. I mean, it's gonna be parents that are gonna be the ones coming in, parents and siblings and grandparents, I guess, family members that are coming.
Are you limiting how many people can watch each child? No.
Because masks are required, so,
Masks are required, they will have to
Yeah.
wear masks, or they're not allowed to.
well, I'm offering my services that I will sit there and volunteer and be there to help you out if you need it.
And I would too if Sarah was busy.
And I would assume in your coaches meeting, you would stress the importance.
Yep.
Because I would hate for us to lose it because one parent,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
one strike.
Over one mask,
Right.
or, or 2 masks or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Drayton, somebody walks in without a mask, you just walk up to them and say, hey, I'm sorry, but masks are mandatory, you need to have a mask on.
Make up some signs to post on the door, so as they're walking in, they'll be able to see that.
And then if they put it on, fine, but if they refuse to put it on, then you ask them to leave.
The school's policy on that is what Pat Hocking says, he doesn't want staff members or people that work for the school to get involved with things like that. So what he's
their own officers involved.
yeah, you get the police department involved when it comes to that.
Are you going to provide masks if you get theirs?
I wasn't planning to.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Can we get?
I have a
get
whole
some
bunch.
masks?
I have a whole bunch. I will donate to the Parks and Rec.
I know we're selling to them.
I would communicate with the superintendent that if we got into a position where we had to enforce that, it would require his involvement for a trespassing issue more than anything else. Because you don't have a mask ordinance or anything from that standpoint, we would be handling that under a trespass issue, which would remove them from the property if they refuse to leave. The superintendent would have to justify or authorize the filing of charges for trespassing.
So that actually brings up something that I was going to talk about in my comments. We don't have a mask mandate, Mount Vernon does. So if this happened in Mount Vernon,
Same thing.
you would have the same situation even though they have a mandate?
We have a resolution that mandates it, it's not an ordinance.
We have a proclamation, but not a.
That recommends it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We recommend
That
it.
highly recommends.
Yeah.
But we still, right now, are currently handling it. If the business owners are having an issue and they refuse, they want somebody to leave, we handle that as a trespassing issue, not a mask issue.
Okay.
Good to know.
All right, so you'll have to let Mr. Hocking know that,
Yep,
or,
and they're working on it. They have a special meeting.
Well, we have a meeting with them on Tuesday
That's
or
right.
Monday,
Monday.
so that can get discussed.
But I
Through us.
I would think that it would be advantageous for us to perhaps invest in some masks in case
Oh, I
someone
agree.
does forget or something that we can offer them one.
I do have a whole bunch. I had a wedding that they left all of their masks, like 200 of them.
oh my goodness.
They didn't want them, so they said if you guys can use them.
Those over there, isn't it?
Some of them, yeah, I have two big
Okay.
things of them.
All right,
So
great. If you can
I'll donate
donate
them
those to
to
the Park
Parks
and
and Rec, so that way they have them.
All right. All right, wonderful.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
All righty, good luck with that. It'll be interesting. All righty, 8D, Police Department Report.
I don't think we have one.
Amy, got anything?
Brandon, you got anything?
You guys get that email?
I did. Thank you for doing
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Hopefully they match some of your.
Yeah, in fact, one of them, I've heard from a couple neighbors surrounding that. That's an East Market, that it's god awful over there,
Down
so.
that alley,
Well,
Oh,
I
that's
sent an email, but I haven't gotten a response.
what,
it's bad.
yeah. There's a few people down that alley.
Who is
Yes.
doing nuisance right now? I know you used to be the nuisance lady, didn't you? Yeah. Who's doing nuisance now that Amy's?
The only nuisance she's doing is changing dirty diapers.
Is anybody really actively doing them right now?
I get a complaint.
I don't,
I've done 2 of them since I've been here.
Okay.
I did the lady on Main who had the overgrowth, and then she's the one that got the derecho, really did a number on her place.
oh, down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Took it
So,
right out.
She's one who we did before. Yeah, so if they come in, I've just been handling.
I'll give you the
I did a
address.
mowing, a couple of informal ones where I never
Did
sent.
you send it to Jeff too? Did you send that list to Jeff?
I did not, but
Okay. Yeah, maybe those.
I just
I did
do
put on there
call.
the note about the mailboxes. There's a lot of people that plant stuff around. I think
Oh.
what they're trying to do is keep the weed down, the grass from growing up the side of the.
Oh, probably. So they don't have to
I
mow.
don't, I didn't write down any of the stuff around the, because technically they are higher than 2 feet, but I don't think you want to cover that all over.
No.
Okay. All right. anything
Well,
else?
but that brings us back to, if we're going to enforce that ordinance, we've got to enforce it all the way or not at all. And that's just,
Or we need to change the
Or change
ordinance to, that they can plant things around their mailbox in regards
It's not, it's
to.
an issue of height, though.
Right.
but he
As
said they
opposed
meet
to-
the height.
Right.
You got some places in town where what I call the parking goes from the curb to the sidewalk is uphill.
Right.
So the plant itself might not be 2 feet tall, but by the ordinance, it's 2 feet from grade
Oh,
in
understood.
the street. So it's
Just so you know, Mark, we asked Brandon while he was patrolling, because he's part-time officering for us, while he's driving around, to look at some of the plantings in the streets or in the right-of-ways and stuff like that. So that's what this is.
All right, anything else on police department? All right, moving on. AE Fire Chief's report.
The only thing I have is the truck's up getting repaired, tank. We sent that up on Friday. And then there's some issue with the siren down here, it's not acting right, so I gotta have it back down here to see what.
They had that repaired, but it's having an issue. Okay.
It's not working on the machine.
All righty, 8F, City Administrator's report.
Yeah, FEMA, I have pretty much most of that done. I have a weekly phone call with them. I'm gonna be wrapping that stuff up for the most part. There's a couple things we weren't sure we were gonna submit on the edge. It's a little more open-ended than the CARES Act thing, but I was gonna try to see a submit if I could get something for the History Center for mitigation, but it's dicey. So I'm gonna see what I can get in there, and then I'm trying to avoid also asking for enough money to knock us into the next realm of money, because the burden of detail becomes way great when you jump up, and it wouldn't be for that much more money. You know what I'm saying? It's
all the work is not worth all the little bit extra money.
It wouldn't be that much more than what we'll get, but I think we're going to max out on the smaller amount. It looks like we're pretty close to it, and I'm trying to submit everything from like the food, from those days and everything. So I've got it all listed, documented, and everything. So
what is the max?
It's like 130,000. And we reached it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with all the.
Did we decide if this mower can go into that?
Yeah. But the contract, all that contract stuff, all that certainly can. So we did no problem. But the thing is, we didn't make like a lot above that. So we're talking about a few thousand here and there on the edge of that. Okay. But anyway, so talking with him. So we hope the CARES Act thing, I submitted on the 16th, so we'll wait and hear back from the state what we get. So that is submitted.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Speaking of going back to the motor subject, is there any grants available for this kind of thing that outside of what Jeff's already worked on? And okay.
No, not
I can't think of what it would be. I've
exhausted every avenue I could.
Okay.
I've called different cities, even up north, seeing what they've done when they've had, same with down
something
south.
like this, yeah.
And they said, no, this is just part of.
Unfortunate, just pay for it. Okay.
Hey, while we're talking to Travis again, what's the status of those alarms that are not working?
That's what I just said. We're still working on it. Hopefully by 2 weeks, I can say we got it fixed.
Okay.
Okay. All righty, 8G, council reports. John, you want to start us off?
Are we still doing brush pickup next week?
We will do brush pickup when our dump truck gets from the service. It's getting serviced right now for winter. And when we get that back, we're going to do just like what we did for the thing. We're going to pick the piles up, throw them in the dump truck, and get out of there. So.
And when is leaf pickup?
Today.
Today? And when's the next one?
2 weeks. I think it's every 2 weeks till
The second.
The snow falls.
Mondays in
Yep.
November.
My daughter this morning, I have to say this.
Alrighty, thank you.
She looks out the window, she goes, why are they vacuuming up snow? And I said, it's leaf pickup. She goes, there is no leaves, it's just snow. That's funny. I corrected her, don't worry.
Travis, do you have anything?
No, not really.
Nope. Okay. Stephanie?
That's right, because I want to just, while you're still sitting here, go, well, first of all, thank you for coming to these meetings, because it's really nice to have you here to ask questions. So we're coming in on Wednesday, and we're setting a public hearing for the 10th, but we were also debating on whether or not to have a meeting on the 4th for the city admin position. So what are your thoughts?
What is the 4th?
No, I want to know if you think we need to have all those meetings or if something could be combined.
I probably wouldn't combine it with the public hearing for the 28th.
Yeah, I agree that that needs to be
But I think
separate.
you could certainly combine it with one of the other meetings if you wanted to.
Well, the only thing would be that that other meeting would be Wednesday, and I don't think you're going to be ready by Wednesday. Do you think?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have, it wouldn't be that ready.
Okay, so we need to have another meeting on the 4th then.
Probably. Yep.
I think,
And we're talking about 7 o'clock or 6, so it's
6, you mean in a couple days?
Yeah.
6 o'clock in a couple days to set the public hearing for Wednesday, the 10th. At what time do you guys want to have that public hearing? Do you want to have it
I
at
say
7 or?
Yeah.
7 is better for that.
Okay.
That's a Tuesday, not a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday night, we'll come in to set the public hearing for Tuesday, the 10th at 7. We'll come in Wednesday night at 6 to set the public hearing for Tuesday, the 10th at 7.
At 7.
And then in addition to that, we need to have a meeting for November 4th as well.
And that's simply post an agenda.
What time?
7 o'clock.
Well, yeah, because I want to make sure that everybody can be here. So Travis, does 7 work best for you?
6:37, either one is good. I can be home by then.
You just whichever. Wait, what is that?
Is the 4th? It's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday, so don't you guys have some, don't you do something on Wednesday night
No,
with?
I don't have to be there. I just have to cook this Wednesday because my cook can't.
So whatever, 6:30 or 7?
6:30.
Okay. So Christina, that would be an agenda for November 4th at 6:30 PM. And Mark will send you how the verbiage needs to be for that agenda. Mark, are you available that night?
Yes, 6:30.
Yes.
Yes.
So 6:30.
And then do we want Mark here for the, I'm assuming that we do, the public hearing on
Yeah,
the,
she's already written that down
okay.
for the 10th.
So
Did you?
Just for my calendar, right? Either on the 4th at 6:30
Yeah,
and the 10th at 7.
yeah,
Is that it?
yeah.
For now.
Mark, okay. I've got the dates available just in case.
6:30.
So initially, I had saved November 2nd as a possible, I can delete that, that's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the school board meeting. Do you guys see any reason that we would need him here for that?
No.
Well, there is a contract, but we can just send that to him. And maybe we need to have him look over that
You know,
contract
because Jeff-
because nobody knows.
Well, Jeff and Drayton have kind of done the park complex contract.
Understood. Well, I
So-
imagine they'll have somebody review it and,
We can always send it to Jeff if we, or Mark if we need
yeah.
to.
So the 9th is out, you'll need me for the 9th, correct?
Correct.
And then, I don't know why I have all these down, the 16th,
The 16th, that's Mount Vernon's.
yeah, so I'm.
Because we were tossing around a lot of dates, yeah.
I have to save it just in case. Okay, I'm good.
Jeff, did you already send that revised contract to the school, or are you going
Oh,
to
no,
present it to
no,
him for
no,
the
no.
first time that night?
Jayden and I have,
We're still finishing it up.
we're
Okay.
still, we didn't want to spring it before that, so.
Well, any chance that it'll be done this week, that it could be sent to Mark before?
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
his review before it went to the school?
It's a simple, I mean, compared to the police one, it's way simple, so,
Yeah.
Done tomorrow.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would hope it's not as detailed as the police
No, it's
department.
more clean in that it lays
Yeah.
out, they do this, we do this.
Yeah.
Cleanly.
Right.
Okay.
I think that was it for me.
All right. Sarah?
I really don't have anything. I did have a resident come to me, and Travis, you can help me out with this. it's longs. He doesn't have feeling in his foot, obviously. And so they were wondering if they could get permission, and I don't know who they need to get permission from. Do they need a permit? I don't know. But they want to build, not a ramp, but just a handrail right outside from when he gets out of the car, because he can't tell when he's sliding because he's got a fake foot. He can't tell when he's slipping. So they had asked me if there's any way that they could put like just a handrail that he could hold to, does he just need to file for a permit, or I
Well,
guess?
if he's not doing anything to the structure, if it's just a rail, I don't think so.
It's
But if
on
he-
the street,
What are you
though,
talking
right?
about? You're talking about between the
Oh.
sidewalk and the street?
Yeah.
Well, he parks on the street.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the curb?
Yeah.
Between the
So it'd be
sidewalk?
like
Yeah,
right
because
next
it
to the
would be
curb.
city, it would be that between the sidewalk and the
right-of-way.
street.
City right-of-way,
Right,
yeah.
the right of way.
Right-of-way.
So he didn't know, they didn't know.
So I would suggest
Okay,
he draw something up,
okay,
fill out the permit,
okay.
and if I can't pass it, we can put it on council, and then you guys can look at it and
Okay.
go from there.
Okay.
I don't want to sit here and tell him no.
No, that's, well, and he didn't know, he's like, because it's on the right of way. Can I build it, or does the city have to build it? That was another thing, so
So technically, we're not supposed to build anything on the right of way.
I didn't know, so I didn't tell him anything. I said I would bring it up and ask around, so, all right, I'll let him know that,
Right.
yep, to do that. That's all I have.
Nothing? Okay. I have nothing. Mayor's report, I also have nothing for that. Any other business?
Can I just, on the handrail?
Yeah.
I've got my city attorney hat on. One thing I'm worried about here, though, is I hope he's not expecting us to now remove the snow and do all that stuff.
No. They do all the, no, it's really just for him to grab on to get into the grassed area, because if the street is
It's
slick.
going to be grassy when there's 10 inches of snow.
No, but for some kind of grip. If it's a sheet of ice,
Is it a sidewalk that goes from down to the street, or is it just if you walk?
I don't even know. I haven't been past that. I don't know.
It's just a curb.
Just step up on the
It's just a
curb.
step up on.
So what you're asking, is he going to expect the city to plow around that pole so that he can,
I'm just nervous.
That's a good
that
concern.
He's going to pack the snow down, it's going to be an ice skating rink, he's going to slip and fall.
well, I think until he actually draws us the drawing of what he actually needs and wants, until then, I don't know.
Okay, but how is this guy having the difficulty walking going to plow snow?
He has
Well,
a
he's
wife.
got a wife
He's got a
and
wife and two
kids
kids. However, he had his leg amputated. And right now, he has a foot that,
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm just worried about the potential additional exposure to
right.
the city.
No, I get it. He was just curious as to what they could do, because he has no feeling in his
what did you just say,
Well, there's-
right now, if what? It's not our problem?
It's in the right of way, it's his problem, it's in front of his house, right?
Yeah.
He has to maintain it.
So why would
Right.
why would him putting a pole in there make it any different?
He's thinking that if we put the pole in there.
I'm saying, if we put the pole in, I don't think the city should be doing it at all.
No, that's
right.
what Travis said. We're not supposed to build on there, so we wouldn't. It would be his responsibility.
We do have a different, you guys can't make any special consideration for plowing, or are you going to be able to make any consideration for plowing? You're going to
We
plow
do
the
it
snow
for-
to the side anyway.
No.
Right.
If the city comes by
Right.
and plows it, they're going to leave a big pile of snow right in the walkway that he needs to walk up, so
Right.
unless somebody's
Yeah.
plowing it, it's not really going to be accessible.
Right.
Yeah.
Normally his vehicle's sitting there and we go through it. They call and say, we've moved our vehicle. We go through it again and they take care of everything from there.
But they've
Yeah,
got to maintain it.
No.
No.
No,
And we're
not
not
for
going to be
them.
responsible if plowing damages this pole, right?
Right. That's why I said they can't do nothing until we see it. Technically, we're not supposed to build anything there, so I'm assuming this is all just a minute conversation, so until I can see
So
what he
there's no
wants.
sense in getting all
Exactly.
worked up
Yep.
about it.
Okay,
So-
all righty.
But before we do anything, we'll ask you.
Sure.
Okay. Any other business? All right, thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.